India and China. If you see this standoff across LAC, line of actual control, it has been जब से pandemic हुआ है आपका मई से आपका जो start हुआ है, it is still continuing even today. Our defense minister Mr. Rajnath Singh is going for another round of talks so that it could be de-escalated, because now we are going to have very harsh winters and it is very difficult for both the sides and it is very inhuman also. But let's see what comes out of the talks today. But anyways, now what is the latest with respect to India and China? One is your border, and second thing is your economic angle. So we will discuss both the angles. So if you see what has happened with respect to India and China, there is a border dispute that is going on since May. Now, what is the problem in India and China or across LAC? The main problem or the crux of the problem or the essence of the problem is that there is a difference in perception of LAC. What we perceive as LAC is completely differently perceived by China, and that is the problem, because हमारा perception ही अलग है for LAC. Like it is approximately 4,000 kilometers long. We say that half of the LAC is disputed, more than half of the LAC is disputed, but they perceive only a fraction of it is disputed. So that is what is they say it is our area, we say it is our area. So because of this perception वाला जो thing है, there is always a problem on LAC, line of actual control. Now, what has been the issues abhi jo hai, in the month of May we have seen that there have been certain like physical blows, exchange of physical blows between PLA and Indian Army people in Sikkim, Nathula ke paas, wahan se ye start hua. And then later on we have seen that the Chinese have come into our area in Ladakh, Galwan region, hot springs, Pangong So Lake. So they have come to our areas, they have encroached upon our areas. So is it for the first time they are encroaching our areas? No, this is not for the first time, or it's not a kind of a encroachment, or there is some kind of a issue across LAC. It's not for the first time, though LAC has been a very peaceful border between India and China. जो हमारा LOC के comparison में LAC was very peaceful and loss of life was almost no. But all of a sudden this year we have seen soldiers at both the sides dying. So this is something is very important and very crucial for our relationship. So all of a sudden it has become very masculine, it has become very aggressive relationship across LAC जो है आपका बहुत ही ज़्यादा ख़राब हो गई है. Now what has happened, आपका start हुआ सिक्किम से, then आपका जो है लद्दाख वाले region में आ गए, आपके गालवान वैली आ गया, hot springs आ गया. So this is not the first time we are seeing the issues across LAC. There have been examples, Doklam has been there, Depsang has been there, Chumar incidents 2014 there has been there. But what is so different this time is, because earlier it was quite localized. जैसे देपसांग है तो देपसांग में ही हो रहा है, आपका डोकलाम है तो it is happening in डोकलाम only, चुमार area है तो it is happening there. But this time it has spread across LAC, right from your Sikkim नाथुला के पास से start होते हुए आपका जो है it has come to different points in your लद्दाख region में, आपका hot spring, गालवान, आपका पेंगोंग सो lake, everywhere. And this Galwan and hot springs and all these areas, they were considered as relatively peaceful areas, जो कि इंडिया चाइना के skirmishes यहाँ नहीं होते थे. So for the first time the areas which were never thought of that there could be a dispute, so dispute has started happening in these areas. So that is something is very different this time across LAC. And now the very obvious question is, why is China doing all this? So China is doing all this because one thing we need to understand is that this Himalayan region, be it your POK region, be it your this Galwan wala आपका जो भी region है, be it your आपका गिलगित बल्तिस्तान region, this whole Himalayan belt is becoming very important. It is becoming very important because of water. इट इज़ बिकमिंग वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज तिब्बत के एरिया से आपकी मोस्टली रिवर्स इस एरिया में आती हैं. सो वाटर इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रिसोर्स. अदर मिनरल रिसोर्सेज आर देयर. देन देयर आर ओल्ड पासेस जो हैं, आपके रूट्स हैं, कनेक्टिविटी है. तो इन एरियाज़ के चलते जो है ये एरिया जो है आपका बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होते जा रहा है. इट इज़ लाइक से वी से सी लेन ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन, आई वुड से इट्स अ हिमालयन लेन ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन. ये सारे एरियाज जो है ओल्ड पासेस हैं आपके. ओल्ड जो सिल्क रूट था आपका यहाँ से, ओल्ड कॉटन रूट था यहाँ से, ओल्ड ट्रेडर रूट्स थे आपके. देन मिनरल इज देयर, वाटर इज देयर. वाटर इज बिकमिंग अ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रिसोर्स राइट नाउ. दोज हु आर कंट्रोलिंग द वाटर का सोर्स, दे आर कंट्रोलिंग. आपका बिल्कुल नीचे तक की कंट्रीज़ को जो हैं दे आर कंट्रोलिंग दोज कंट्रीज. सो दिस रीजन इज बिकमिंग वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड एवरी कंट्री wants to have hold over it. And when you see India and China, both are the competing and they are one of the fastest growing economies in the region. They are competing with each other. So they want the other, they want that they should have control rather than India wants that China should not have control. China wants that India should not have control on these resources and these regions. So nobody wants to lose the grip over the region. So that is one of the biggest, that is one of the major causes कि चाहे वो आपका गालवान रीजन हो, चाहे वो आपका पीओके हो या आपका गिलगित बल्तिस्तान हो, the region is becoming very very important and believe me, in the coming times this is going to be a very very turbulent region because यहाँ से आपके lane of communications पास होंगे. जैसे कि आपका इंडो पैसिफिक, बिकॉज वहाँ से आपका ट्रैफिक पास होता है, आपका बिजनेस पास हो रहा है, आपके जो है गुड्स पास हो रहे हैं. सो एवरीवन वांट्स टू हैव कंट्रोल. जैसे आपका कभी पनामा कनाल, सुएज कनाल के जो कन्फ्लिक्ट्स होते थे, डाउन द लाइन दिस रीजन विल ऑल्सो बिकम वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज ऑफ द कनेक्टिविटी, बिकॉज ऑफ द पैसेजेस, बिकॉज ऑफ द रिसोर्सेज. सो this is just the beginning. यहाँ पे कुछ ना कुछ जो है ये होते ही रहेगा. But anyways, now why this thing has happened this time? So the immediate trigger, जैसे कि हमने कहा कि पाकिस्तान में जो अनरेस्ट हो रहे हैं, अभी सिविल अनरेस्ट हो रहे हैं, उसका इमीडिएट ट्रिगर वाज दैट. सिमिलरली जो इंडिया चाइना का इमीडिएट ट्रिगर वाज लाइक इंडिया वाज कंस्ट्रक्टिंग द बॉर्डर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. वी आल्सो वांट टू अपग्रेड आवर बॉर्डर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और वी वर बिल्डिंग अ road from Sheok river to your दौलत बेग ओल्डी. दौलत बेग ओल्डी तक हम एक अपना सड़क बना रहे थे. तो so China has objected. China said this is our area. We said no, we are constructing it in our area. The crux is, or the ultimate reason behind it is, it's not about the road, this one particular road. China does not want that India should have a well developed border infrastructure, because well developed border infrastructure वहाँ पे हो जाएगा तो it would be easier for India to maintain its logistics. वहाँ पे कल को जो है आपका जो है एरोप्लेन्स वगैरह वहाँ पे अगर हमने अपना एयरपोर्ट बना लिया, एयर स्ट्रिप्स बना ली, तो it would be very conducive for India to manage these border areas. अभी क्या है, because of the harsh climatic conditions, because of the because of the poor quality of border infrastructure, we are not able to use our whole capabilities. हमारे ट्रक्स ही नहीं वहाँ पहुँच पाते हैं, हमारे आर्म्स अम्यूशंस ही सप्लाईज ही नहीं पहुँच पाती हैं, लॉजिस्टिक्स की सप्लाई की प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है. सो दैट इज़ वाई वी China does not want that India should have a well developed border infrastructure across LAC. So that is one thing which has triggered this. And then at the same time, this particular region, it is very very important because Karakoram highway passes through it. So it is very important for चाइना. काराकोरम हाईवे इस रीजन से पास होता है और अगर इंडिया will have a very sound infrastructure there, then India could have a better grip over the area. And Karakoram highway passes through this, and it is here China has also invested more than आपका $65 billion for CPC corridor. So it is a very very important, strategically important region. So that is why China does not want India to have a grip over this region. And at the same time, China also wants that down the line it wants to connect this Daulat Beg Oldie and all these areas with its Tibet, and then it wants to connect this with CPEC corridor. It wants to have multiple access to Pakistan. It wants to have a multiple access to Pakistan through this region, so that उसका CPEC corridor, उसका passage, उसका connectivity जो है हर angle से बना रहे. It wants to connect your Tibet with Gilgit-Baltistan. It wants to connect to Pakistan through Daulat Beg Oldie. So that is why it does not want India to have a better infrastructure in this area. And then apart from this, another reason could be like India is getting very closer to USA, so it might be a kind of a you can say it might be a kind of a signal, or it might be a kind of a warning to India that if you get very closer to USA, then you have to face us at LAC. So there might be these are some of the reasons why there is this conflict going on, but actually this is a strategically very important region, and China does not want to lose grip over this region. It does not want India to build infrastructure in this region, and if there is a airstrip, we want to build a airstrip at Daulat Beg Oldie, which would help us to which will help us to have a better logistic facilities there, which would help us to allow our heavyweight aircrafts to land there. So China does not want it. It wants to choke our supply lines. So that is why it has raised the issue here. But anyways, rounds of talks are going on. Every now and then we are different mechanisms we are using. Our national security advisors, our army chiefs, our generals, then our foreign ministers, then our defense ministers, hopefully will come out with a solution. So that is what is presently happening around the LAC. The crux is strategically important region. Then another thing between India and China has been a kind of a trade war. I cannot say it's a full trade war, but yes, economic relationship. What has happened, like we have banned 59 of the Chinese apps as a retaliatory action, as a anti-China sentiment which was growing in the country, and 59 Chinese apps have been banned. So if you see India and China, in spite of the border issues, boundary issues, what has been the driving force in the relationship has been the economic angle. So economic angle जो है हमारे relationship को चला रहा था और अभी भी चला रहा है. If you see the trade, last year the trade has come a little bit low, 3% कम हो गया है from 2018, but it is not only because of this, it has lowered down because overall जो है आपका economic scenario, जो आपका overall जो है business environment जो है आपका recession में जा रहा है, so that has happened. But if you see the trade between India and China last year, it is somewhere approximately 93 billion US dollars, and the trade deficit has been somewhere around 56 billion US dollars. So the trade deficit is huge. Now that is one concern between India and China, the trade deficit. And on top of it, in spite of the trade deficit, we have banned the Chinese apps. Now we have to see, is it going to impact the India-China economic relationship, and like if you see the banning of the apps, these are just the entertainment apps. They do not have much value in India and China trade. If you see India and China trade, what we are exporting to China, we are basically exporting to them is the raw material, and what we are getting from China is basically we are getting the finished goods. आपका telecommunications है, आपका telephone, आपका phones है, cell phones are, smartphones are there, telecommunications are there, then pharmaceutical industry, APIs are there, your active pharmaceutical ingredients, which is very important for India's pharmaceutical industry. Then we are also having Chinese investments in our power sector. We are having Chinese investments in our telecom sector. So this just banning of the apps will not bring much of the damage to our economic trade between India and China, because these are just going to cost some of the production. आपके centers, आपके production houses का थोड़ा सा loss होगा, थोड़ी सी employment में loss होगी, but the major trade between the two countries is, we have to see that उस पे हमारा कोई impact इससे नहीं होने वाला है. what we give them raw material and they give us, we give them cheap raw material and they give us the finished products. This is what the East India Company was also doing, what we were doing with East India Company. हम अपने raw material देके वहाँ से finish ले रहे थे. Same thing is with China. So unless and until we are banning the export of these raw materials, तब तक जो है हमारे ट्रेड में इसका ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला है. And whether we would do it, again it is a very pragmatic thing to be thought about, because we cannot ban just the raw materials that we are giving to China, or we cannot all of a sudden ban the import of APIs or the investments in telecom or power sector. All of a sudden we cannot do that. अगर हम अपने यहाँ से जो उनको एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, all of a sudden हम अपने रॉ मटेरियल बंद कर दें, तो हमारे यहाँ की भी डोमेस्टिक इंडस्ट्रीज वुड बी इम्पैक्टेड. ठीक है, तो ये जो आपका अभी एंटी चाइना जो भी आपका एक फेज चल रहा था, एंड वी हैव बैंड दिस. So this is not going to impact much of our relationship, economic relationship. So that is, these are the things which were there in news with respect to China. One was your border, another was your economic. And unless and until we are able to have alternatives for the products that we are getting from China, हम बहुत ज़्यादा चाइना से अपना इकोनॉमिक रिलेशनशिप वी कैनॉट डिटोरिएट मच, बिकॉज अगर हम डिटोरिएट कर लेंगे तो इवन वी विल बी एट लॉस. सो अनलेस एंड अंटिल वी बिल्ड अप ऑन आवर ओन कैपेबिलिटीज, एंड दैट इज व्हाट वी आर नाउ टॉकिंग अबाउट आत्मनिर्भर भारत, एंड वी आर लुकिंग फॉर अदर ऑल्टरनेटिव्स. सो अनलेस एंड अंटिल इट इज इन अ रोबोस्ट फॉर्म, ऑल्टरनेटिव इज रोबोस्ट, वी कैनॉट कम्प्लीटली से दैट कि हमारा जो इकोनॉमिक रिलेशनशिप चाइना से हम खराब कर सकते हैं. अगेन आई वुड से दैट in India and China relationship, what I think is economy is the linchpin which is connecting us together, and this is one thing which is not allowing China and India to go for a full-fledged war. This is something is good which will help us to further remove our differences. So this is about your India and China relationship.